I'm Dr. Dave Murdock. Here I am with my family, and today I'd like to share some amazing body facts with you that you may not know. For instance, bones are 4 times stronger than concrete. Pound for pound, they're stronger than steel. Nerve impulses to and from the brain travel as fast as 170 miles per hour. The nose has the ability to remember 50,000 different scents. In your lifetime, you'll shed nearly 40 pounds of skin. The acid in your stomach is strong enough to dissolve razor blades. The average person expels flatulence 14 times per day. Okay, well, you might have known that one. Every day, an adult body produces 300 billion new cells. Synovial fluid, the fluid that lubricates our joints, is the most slippery substance known to man. The human body is estimated to have 60,000 miles of blood vessels. If you were to put these end to end, they'd wrap around the world more than 2 times. The air from a sneeze can travel at speeds of 100 miles per hour or more. Your feet have about 500,000 sweat glands and have the ability to produce a pint of sweat a day. Humans are the best distance runners in the animal kingdom. There's a thing called persistence running where people run after animals until the animal can no longer keep going. Your body gives off enough heat in 30 minutes to bring half a gallon of water to a boil. Babies are pound for pound stronger than an ox. After 75% of removal of your liver, it only needs 4 months to completely regenerate. Did you know the human body gives off light? Testicles produce 10 million sperm cells a day. That's enough new sperm to repopulate the entire planet in only 6 months. When a pregnant woman suffers organ damage, the fetus will send stem cells to repair the damage in the mother. Your body is the world's biggest drugstore. The body makes 2 million different proteins, 47,000 different enzymes, over 100 neurotransmitters, 62 hormones, and many, many more substances that we don't even have a clue about. But by far the most amazing thing of all is how 2 microscopic cells can turn into a complete, living, breathing, thinking human being. We've made tremendous progress in the field of genetics. But there's a great deal more that we don't know than what we do know. See, genetics only explain how protein is manufactured. It doesn't explain how the protein becomes assembled. Saying that genetics explains how our bodies are built and function is like saying that the guy who made the bricks built the Gothic cathedral. Explaining how bricks are made is a very incomplete look at how you would build a Gothic cathedral. Ignoring that there's an organizing energy involved in the growth, healing, and function of the human body is ignoring at least 75% of the health equation. This does not happen by random molecules bouncing together. You can't take all the right chemicals, mix them all up, and have it come out like this. This is the miracle of life. Chiropractic philosophy talks about life energy and an innate intelligence that guides the growth and the healing of the body. It's obvious to anyone who actually looks. In the past, chiropractors have been criticized for having a philosophy. That's not scientific. Well, I don't know if it's scientific or not, but it sure is common sense. Try this experiment. Go to the store, buy a piece of steak, bring it home, cut it. Sprinkle it with whatever drugs you like. You could even sprinkle it with some vitamins or supplements or herbs. Wrap it up in a bandage and come back in a couple weeks and see if it's healed. And you say, well, that's ridiculous. Well, that's my point. It is ridiculous. That stuff doesn't heal. There's only one thing that truly heals, and that's life. Alternative health doctors acknowledge and consider it their job to work with and help this God-endowed life energy to fully express itself so then the body can heal. We don't know, and we probably never will know and understand every chemical reaction and process that takes place in the normal function of the human body. But we don't need to know. The Creator made the body to work and function correctly. What we need to know is what can interfere with this, so that we can address it and help to correct it. Any approach that's not designed to find and remove the cause of malfunction, what's interfering with it, is really not a health approach at all. It's damage control. You're broke. We'll get you through it by taking these drugs. Perhaps we shouldn't even call it America's healthcare system. We should call it America's damage control system. But how can we find out those things that are interfering with the normal function of the organs and tissues? And how can we fix it so that the body repairs itself? Well, that's what I do. Welcome to Cause and Effect Muscle Testing. Muscle testing as we know it has been around for quite a while, at least since the late 60s, early 70s. It's generally attributed to a guy by the name of George Goodhart. And Dr. Goodhart was doing a study in kinesiology, which is the science of motion. And he was doing a lot of muscle testing during his research. And he was testing the strength of all the different muscles. And he discovered that when people were sick, that a certain muscle group would be weak. For instance, if a person had a problem with their lungs, the deltoid muscle would be weak when he tested it. So what he did is he went around and he correlated all these different muscles with these different organs of the body. And they're in the same circuit, basically. And he developed a technique where he could go around and test the different muscle groups on a person and have a pretty good idea what was going on inside the body. Now, throughout his research, he discovered that you could actually take the person's hand and put it over the part that he felt wasn't working right, and he could test any muscle, and the muscle would be weak. He called this therapy localization, which is pretty amazing, and I don't know, he must have just stumbled upon it. But other doctors came along, like Dr. Versendaal, Richard Versendaal, out of Holland, Michigan, and he discovered that the doctor could contact certain points on the body, and if the organ that was inside was not correct, then he would have a muscle weakness. So it was really based on observation. Over the years, a series of points were developed that could be tested, very similar to acupuncture points, to where you could get feedback from the body as to what was functioning correctly and what was not. Dr. Versendaal worked with several doctors from other fields and did thousands of tests to correlate these points with the different organs and tissues, and found a high degree of accuracy. So we know that it works. But how does it work? We can see it works just like we can see electricity works. But how do we make sense out of it? Well, that's what the second part of this video is about. The human body is very electrical. Here's a diagram of the electric field of the heart. Now, this is very well known because it's used for the electrocardiogram, which, of course, everyone is familiar with. Here's an electroencephalogram, which measures the electric fields for the brain. Oriental medicine has charted electrical flows in the body for thousands of years. Here's a picture of a contest in Vietnam where they competed to see who was the most electromagnetic. When the body first starts forming, electric fields are very important. You have the two cells that come together, and they divide and divide and divide, and then you have this mass of cells, but they all look alike. Then life comes on the scene, and out of nowhere there comes this streak, and that's your primitive nervous system. Then electric fields form, and the organs and tissues develop and migrate according to these electric fields. Here's an experiment that was done, a rather gross experiment, where they grew organ parts on frogs where they weren't supposed to be. Here they grew an eye where it wasn't supposed to be, and they did this by mimicking the electric field or electric potential of that eye when it was forming. When bones don't heal, they put an electric field around it and the bone will heal. Here's a textbook on electric fields and how they're related to growth and healing. It's very well established. When the body needs to heal, there's a current of injury that forms. Here's a picture that just shows that under a natural current of injury that the cells will line up according to this current of injury, and that, again, is part of the healing process. The main thing to know is that when injury or malfunction occur in the body, there are electrical changes that occur in this malfunctioning area. that electric field of healing is part and parcel to the growth and healing process. So anytime that you see the body's trying to heal something, there will be an electric field there. And that electric field is what I pick up when I do the muscle testing. We all pretty much know that muscles run on electricity and are very sensitive to electricity. If you get an electric shock that's like a high voltage, then your hands they won't let go. They contract and it can be fatal. Well, on a much, much lesser note, there was an Italian scientist who had some frog legs that were hanging from this metal hook. And these frog legs, they just started jumping by themselves. And he thought, well, that's kind of odd. So he did some research and he discovered that there was a flow occurring between two metals. And that's how electricity was discovered for our batteries. That's where our first batteries came from. Now, since muscles are so sensitive to these subtle electrical flows, they can be used to detect these subtle changes in the electrical fields that occur when organs are sick. You can have someone put their arm out and press on it, have them resist, then take a 9-volt battery and stick it right on their muscle, right on the deltoid area, and their muscle will just go poof, just go weak. One theory on how muscle testing works deals with the electric field that's around your nerves and muscles at all times. Now, this electric field that's around your nerves, if it's turned up, your nerves will fire easier, and you're more excitable. If it's turned down, then they don't fire as easily. Well, it's been theorized that this normal electric field that's around your nerves and your muscles can act as a sort of a carrier wave that can be influenced by external electrical fields, and you can pick it up using a muscle. Since that electric field that's around the nerves and the muscles is directly related to the muscle tone of that muscle, anything that influences that electric field will also influence the muscle tone, and you'll feel a change in the muscles and the muscle strength. This, of course, would include an abnormal field from a sick organ. Now, this is all starting to seem pretty complicated, but what you really need to know out of all this is that the doctor is using the muscle very similar to how an electrician uses his meter to find electrical outages. When the electrician finds something wrong, he'll see the needle on the meter dip or drop. When a muscle tester finds something wrong, he'll feel the strength of the arm dip or drop. A doctor who's very well trained in muscle testing knows exactly where he has to check, so that he can tell which organs are functioning correctly and which ones are in need of help. Just as an electrician can often trace back a problem that he's found back to where it started, and then he can get a pretty good idea of what caused it, so can a muscle testing doctor trace back a problem he's found to go back to find out where it started and what came first. Now, this has led to the development of a series of points called cause or basic stress points on the body. And these are things that are basic interfering factors that are keeping the body from functioning correctly and are keeping the expression of this life energy from occurring. In an expert's hands, this technology can be used to quickly and accurately find areas of malfunction in the body, where it originally began, and often what caused it to begin with. By identifying and removing those things that interfere with the normal function, and giving the body exactly what it needs to heal, it's possible to restore the normal function and health of the body. Cause and effect muscle testing has a precise technology based on the actions and patterns of electricity. It's based on the same technology that runs our cars, refrigerators, phones, computers, iPods, and our television sets. This technology can be used to find out exactly what is going on with each individual and exactly what each individual's body needs in order for it to get better. And we can do this efficiently, accurately, effectively, and affordably. And the results are truly wonderful. So if you have a body problem that's affecting your life, it's time to take a look at it. Is it keeping you from doing things you'd ordinarily be doing? Is it making you irritable? Is it making you grumpy? Is it affecting your job, your productivity, your family, your relationships? If it's not getting better, it's probably getting worse. But you don't have to wait till it's a crisis. And you don't necessarily have to take drugs to fix it. But you do need to do something for it. It's hard enough to make it out there. And you owe it to yourself and you owe it to your family to do something about it. It's not that hard to pick up the phone and make an appointment. And we can take a look. We can use this amazing technology to see what shows up and see if there's something that makes sense. And then we can figure out what needs to be done. The life of the body has an amazing ability to heal. After all, it's what put it there to begin with. When you work with this life energy, miracles can happen. And I know of no tool that does a better job than cause and effect muscle testing. Maybe you're not hopeless after all. Call 459-6160. We just might be able to help.